All right, we're live. I'm the real underscore G Warner, and this is going to be a very rapido episode of betting the pitch. Going to start with the English Premier League. Going to go through La Liga because those are the only two leagues back for this week, and then possibly some Spanish La Liga table talk at the end if we don't run out of time. So it is Thursday morning. We have one match today, which is Manchester United hosting Burnley. Really like Burnley there, but I already talked about that in the last episode. So we're going to keep going on the next one. So we're going to, I guess, New Year's Day, Arsenal hosting Man City in the early one. Man City currently a goal and a quarter favorite with all the juice on the Arsenal side. It's really hard to want to go against Man City right now, coming off a maybe lackluster effort against Brentford yesterday, but did get the victory, and the other title challengers are falling apart right behind them. And so Man City, depth is a big deal for them, especially with all these fixtures running together. And they have a ton of it because you really never know who's going to play. And it doesn't really seem to be a step backwards whenever Pep goes to the bench or if you even call it the bench. Arsenal with their match canceled midweek does certainly help and puts them in a great position, at least rest-wise. But I think the youth of the Arsenal setup, it's still an issue for me because they seem to wither under the pressure of the good teams. I mean, getting blasted by Liverpool, starting off the year as poorly as they did, and then really getting healthy, I think, on some bad teams is something that I don't know if I want to back them against a really good Man City side, even at home, getting more than a goal right now, at least where the number sits currently. Watford then hosting Tottenham, currently getting 3/4 of a goal with all the juice in Tottenham. So it's probably climbing to 1 and would expect that to be the case because Watford, I don't know who's backing them right now and certainly not in the early market. Tottenham have looked really good since Conte came on, maybe slow-ish start, but they've been very impressive, I think, since then. He clearly knows what he's doing and is going to have his wingbacks like parked in the Watford penalty box. So I think this gets really ugly. And as an underdog player, there's very little interest in me to back Watford here. Certainly, maybe an interest in the over 2.5. But Claudio Ranieri is going to try to hold on for dear life, and we'll see how long that lasts. Leicester then host Norwich City, currently giving a goal and a quarter to Norwich. Leicester with a great result against Liverpool. Very surprising. One shot on target went in. Klopp was certainly talking about that afterwards. Leicester defense has been so bad. And the nice part is they get to host the worst scoring offense in the league with Timo Pukki, who missed the last start or last match entirely. I don't know if he's on the COVID list or what. But ultimately, Norwich can't score goals. And so that's a really big problem and doesn't really seem like a spot that they can really mess with Leicester. So I think I'll pass on that one as well. Hopefully we'll find some places to get really mad at the TV this weekend. Next, I'll go to Crystal Palace hosting West Ham, currently getting a quarter of a goal at home. And this is one I really like. I don't know what West Ham is doing as a road favorite. Goal scoring has been a huge problem for them. Conceding 3 to Southampton was pretty embarrassing. And I'm not a really believer in Mikel Antonio at this point. He looks like he's exhausted. And without him, the goal scoring for the rest of the team is set pieces and relying on a defense that is so diminished by injury and all the other things. They're missing so many guys. And I guess Declan Rice coming back from a yellow card suspension will be helpful and will be a boon to their chances. But and Crystal Palace are not perfect either. They missed Conor Gallagher due to illness midweek. I don't know if he's coming back. Don't know if that's a COVID thing. I feel like we would have heard it if it was. Not a great sign. I think Wilfried Zaha will return after his own yellow card suspension, or I guess a red card that from 2 yellows. That's important. Certainly, Crystal Palace's defense is not perfect and is scary to back. But as a home underdog against a team that can't score, it's going to be hard for me to resist. Moving to Sunday, Brentford hosting Aston Villa. Currently, Brentford a quarter goal underdog at home with all the juice on their side. Villa's goal scoring has not been good. Steven Gerrard has brought in a defensive mentality or restored one that was slipping under Dean Smith. And he's been, out with COVID recently, but the team's been playing well under him. I still think there's some goal scoring issues, and that makes them a road favorite. Or a road favorite I want to play against. Brentford, on the other hand, goal scoring has been really questionable. Mbomo's being hurt, and Tony hasn't been in the side for a long time, is getting back to full fitness. and is trying, but they don't have a lot. If he gets a penalty, he'll probably score because he's got a great record there. But I'm not sure how much time Brentford will be spending in the Aston Villa box. I think they played pretty well against Man City, and it's very possible that they wasted a ton of their legs on that matchup. Where Villa didn't play midweek. So that's another issue. But a home dog, certainly with all the juice right now, so it might fall to pick them. But I'd imagine that if this does stick around at Brentford getting a quarter from a poor road offense, that does interest me a little bit. And we'll see exactly what that lineup looks like. And then I'll really have to weigh fatigue or energy levels to decide if that's worth a play. Because ultimately, 0-0, I think, is possible in this matchup. And that's exactly what you want if you're betting an underdog with a 2.25 total. Everton then hosts Brighton, currently pick 'em with all the juice on the Everton side, who didn't play midweek. Brighton with a great draw to steal that point from Chelsea, though maybe they deserve better than that. I'm not sure, but Brighton are the draw kings in this league, and that's why they don't really seem to climb the table. And Graham Potter's love for the English media doesn't seem to work out. Ultimately, I think Everton have so many flaws. Defense is a big issue for them, and playing 4 center backs doesn't seem to work under Rafa Benitez like it did under Ancelotti, maybe because they've been missing their strikers and have absolutely no way to attack. But looking for Brighton to try to climb to a quarter goal underdog, even on the road and even with less rest from having to play midweek while Everton were off, that still interests me. Southampton then hosts Newcastle, giving 3/4 of a goal. Newcastle likely without their 2 striking talents, and beyond that, they have really poor defenders, and I don't know where the goals are going to come from. Don't like Southampton as a big favorite like this, but Newcastle are just not a really team I want to back unless they're an underdog to like the worst teams in the league like Norwich. Chelsea then hosting Liverpool, currently getting 1/4 of a goal at home. Liverpool with a pretty disappointing performance midweek, but got an extra day of rest, so that's big. They can score goals. Chelsea cannot. And so it's funny because in the first matchup, Chelsea controlled it and deserved so much better until the Reece James red card. But ultimately, the teams and the fortunes have changed so significantly since then that I'm not very interested in backing Chelsea, even as a home dog, because they really haven't been playing well at home. I think the crowd is nervous about how they perform, and the players can feel that. And it certainly doesn't seem to be one of those really galvanizing events being able to play at home. But it is what it is at this point. And I guess on the home dog, I'm interested in a really great defense like Chelsea, but only getting 1/4, and I can't imagine it's going to climb to a half, but only getting 1/4, you're kind of expecting the Chelsea defense will be good enough. And we'll look for a draw, which you're only winning half of a unit. I don't know. Liverpool offense on the road, certainly it's not guaranteed to score more than one. I wouldn't expect Chelsea to keep a clean sheet, though, because they haven't really been doing it against anybody. So why would you expect that against Liverpool? And that, I think, will finish all the matches for Premier League this weekend, or I guess, in the new year. Might as well start, I guess, with another league that's back because the others all seem to be off until next weekend. But we have La Liga's playing on Friday the 31st, which is great before we tick into 2022. Hopefully I'm not going to be yelling at the refs, but that's probably guaranteed. First match is Valencia hosting Espanyol, currently giving 3/4 of a goal. Espanyol have been a pretty good defense that struggle to score. They're going to need set pieces, and they're pretty efficient on those. But what's the possession going to look like in this matchup at Mestalla? I imagine Valencia are going to try to control the ball and try to control the match, and certainly we're playing better towards the break. But who knows about momentum coming through holidays and all that sort of stuff, and really who's tested positive for COVID and all that sort of stuff. I think Elche has had a big breakout, but ultimately Valencia are not very good. Espanyol are not great either, but one is the home team that's giving 3/4 of a goal with who knows what type of crowd influence will be there. And the whistles for Valencia might be out because the fan base has been pretty disappointed in how they've been performing. I think Espanyol getting 3/4 of a goal is very interesting to me. I think that they're going to struggle to score on the road probably, but Valencia don't exactly. I mean, Gonzalez Guedes has had his falling outs with Bordalas, the manager, and I think there's still plenty of problems in Valencia's offense and many problems in their defense. So kind of surprised to see them giving so many where they need to win by 2 to take my full unit. On to Sunday, I guess. That's weird. But anyway, I guess there are no Saturday matches. I don't know how to explain that. New Year's Day, I guess it's a big deal in Spain. Getafe hosting Real Madrid, getting 3/4 of a goal seems very short to me. Expected a lot bigger number. when I was making my lines, but this is my first glance. Real Madrid, they're really good at finishing on few chances. Getafe can't score goals, are going to have real trouble scoring. I think Real Madrid 1-0 seems like a very likely minimum result, I think, for Real Madrid. And I think they could win by more than that. And trying to think of ways or reasons to back Getafe, I just don't have that many because they can't score goals and they're going to be pinned in their own end by Real Madrid for 85 minutes. And so maybe a 25% possession from Getafe is not going to be good enough to back a team getting less than a goal. But I will admit that a lot of times the underdogs getting way too short of lines do perform pretty well because the market seems to be pretty strong in soccer across the top 5 European leagues. So definitely one to look at, but I don't think Getafe are getting enough. Elche then hosting Granada. I think they have a big COVID outbreak, but we'll see what that ends up looking like. Granada are playing a lot better, certainly from looking like they're going to fall way adrift from the beginning of the season, and have really, I think, climbed up the table from behind some good play, and they're incredibly getting a bunch of goal scoring from older strikers. Elche as a favorite are something I want to be against because they are one of the worst teams in the league. And I thought that they'd done some good business in the transfer window this summer, but I don't know that they really did enough to strengthen what they need to. It seems like they have a lot of midfielders and defenders that just aren't very good. And if they climb from this pick'em with all the juice to a quarter goal favorite, I'll be looking at Granada. Next is Atleti hosting Rayo Vallecano. Atleti is a 1.5 favorite, and I can't explain that whatsoever against Rayo's playing their juniors or their reserves. That doesn't make any sense to me. Rayo certainly has played worse on the road, but I like their counterattacking style that has played so well for them at home. I think that fits on the road, and if not for ridiculous bad calls and ridiculous officiating at Villarreal, would have done a lot better. And I think Atleti, with no real goal scoring ability, their defense not playing well, and being ripe for a counterattack because they need points, Rayo getting a 1.5 will definitely be on my card. All the juice currently right now, but even if it falls to 1.25, I think I'll still play it with the same. Your odds are back. With that same idea, though, it's possible I'll play them even earlier before seeing lineups because I can't imagine the lineup is going to be that weak that Atleti will deserve to lay that kind of number. And I'd like to win on a single goal defeat for Rayo. But then again, I feel like I might even want to risk it, take better juice, and see Rayo maybe get a draw and only win half a unit, lose by 1, only win half a unit. But I think a draw is very possible, and they could even win. Alaves then hosting Real Sociedad. Currently, Alaves getting a quarter at home. Sociedad's been having plenty of problems, and Oyarzabal suspended, but maybe that's not so bad because he hasn't been very good and still needs to get back into form. I mean, you definitely want your best player on the pitch, but he definitely took a huge risk and got a red card in their last matchup, and that completely swung everything against Villarreal at home, and they haven't been playing well. Alaves, on the other hand, defense has been bad lately, and that's what they need to hang in matches because they don't have much offense. Ojelu, I wish that he'll maybe move to Sevilla during the January transfer window. He was trying to do that entering into the season and even going into October, and was like holding out of the team, all that sort of stuff. And there's a reason, because he's basically by himself and they have no goal scoring ability. So backing them as a quarter goal underdog at home doesn't seem worth it, even against a pretty poor Sociedad form right now. Real Betis then hosting Celta de Vigo, giving 3/4 of a goal. Celta really need Iago Aspas to score goals. Their defense is bad. But I don't know that there's enough here for me to want to back them on the road, because Betis, it's crazy the way they dropped the match at Athletic Club, taking a lead and end up losing the match in the last 15 minutes, equalizer, then a loss. Incredible, and kind of explains my season in La Liga, though I haven't tallied that up just specifically yet. Anyway, Betis, they're really tough. I get them wrong both ways, so it really seems fairly easy for me not to want to fade them at home, where they played pretty well. Whether it's deserved or not, I don't know. But Juanmi seems to score every match. And I just don't think Celta can really hang with Betis unless they get a good defensive effort. And I just don't think I can trust that. Right. Mallorca then hosts Barcelona, getting 1/4 of a goal at home. All the juice in Barca, which might climb to 1/2 of a goal. Still see no interest to get off the fade Barcelona train. Don't believe that they can score goals efficiently. Mallorca's been the best defense, I think, of the promoted sides. They definitely have some goal scoring issues, and trying to keep up with Barcelona seems like a difficult task. But and Barcelona's young players have been better than I was expecting. The no names that came up from the reserves are really good, which I guess shouldn't be surprising. But they still struggle to score goals. We'll see what Memphis Depay's availability will look like, and ultimately we'll know that he'll score the penalty when he gets one, because Barcelona gets ridiculous calls afforded to them by La Liga officials. Also said I wasn't going to go too deep in that, so I'll let that go. But Mallorca, especially if it climbs to half of a goal, I think just fading Barca until they cover is also a reasonable idea. Moving to Monday, I guess this is why no Saturday, the first of 2022 of January, but lots of games on Monday, so that's good. Villarreal hosting Levante, giving a goal and a quarter. Levante were great to me last season, but have been a disaster this year. Can't win matches, and really Villarreal, I think, are starting to look like the team that they were in the deep Europa League run that finished them, that won them the title and got them to Champions League and now into the knockouts. I don't want to go against them, especially with Levante. Osasuna hosting Athletic Club. Currently pick them with Athletic Club having all the juice right now and likely climbing to a quarter goal favorite. I still don't believe in Bilbao Athletic Club's ability to score goals. Incredible comeback against Betis, but that's Betis defensive problem. I think Osasuna has plenty of goal scoring issues themselves. Total of 2 goals in this match explains to how limited the goal scoring should be. And that makes any sort of goal that Osasuna score will either be a winner or likely will cement a draw, I think. And so I'll be interested in them getting a quarter if that climbs. So I really am trying not to back Osasuna as much this season because their goal scoring has completely dried up. The nice part is, as a home dog with a good crowd behind them, against another team that can't score, 0-0 seems possible. Cadiz then hosting Sevilla. Currently, Cadiz half a goal underdog at home. It seems short to me. All the juice is on Sevilla, so maybe this climbs to 3/4. But Sevilla, are playing great football. They've been missing a lot of bodies, but still getting the results they needed. I guess winning games that they shouldn't. They've been doing that for a couple years. More recently, getting some draws or a late winner against Atletico or Atleti Madrid, which was big for them. But they're sitting second, sitting pretty in the table. And Cadiz are going to cede possession. Sevilla is going to be tough to counter attack against because they're really controlled with their possession. And I don't know why this is less than a goal. I don't know who's backing Cadiz at this number, unless Sevilla is missing a ton more people than I was expecting. And so going to look at the table real quick, just because we have a little more time for my, I guess, noon meeting or whatever time it is. And Real Madrid way ahead of Sevilla, 8 points up, but with one more match played, Sevilla could cut that to 5 points. Still big gap because Real Madrid, I don't know who's beating them at this point in the season. Maybe teams are drawing them, but even then, Real Madrid are good for at least a goal, get a match, and likely 2. And I just don't know who in Spain are able to match and score 2 goals. I think Sevilla got screwed when they went to Real Madrid, but like La Liga officials have had it out for me all season. Again, not getting on that tangent. Promised everybody. Sorry. But next on the list is Real Betis, 5 points behind Sevilla, same amount of matches played, so 1 less than Real Madrid, but 13 back. I don't know. Looks like there's going to be a battle for some Champions League positions here, at least from what I'm seeing, and certainly Europa League as well, and Conference League from what it looks like. Rayo Vallecano sitting on 30 points is crazy, but good for them. Looks like, I guess, Real Madrid have more matches played than anybody at 19, with, I guess, Athletic Club as well. Don't know exactly why that happened, but probably from cup reschedulings or something like that. But from what I'm looking at, I think Rayo had really outperformed expectations, but I think that's because they've been really good, and their philosophy of the counterattacking, sit back, defend, and then sprint forward on the counters is the great way. And that's exactly what I want to back in an underdog. So I'm trying to keep my eye on them going forward, but going to be wary of them at home because they've been crushing teams, and I'm very wary of trying not to lose matches against them or losing bets against them. Real Betis is so up and down, a team I'd like to probably go against because I don't believe they deserve to finish or sit third in the table, or definitely not finish there. Atletico Madrid can't really seem to follow up on last season, which was really fortunate in a lot of the matches they were winning anyway. But I'm not a believer in them really, and look to be against them, especially as a big favorite if they're going to continue to give like monstrous spreads away, because they don't deserve it. Didn't deserve it last year, even when they won La Liga. A lot of late goals to make some lopsided wins. And so I just don't, maybe they used all their luck last year. Real Sociedad had plenty of problems. but seem to be pretty strong and have a good manager, which I think is more than you can say for a lot of these clubs. Barca sitting seventh, 1 point behind Real Sociedad, 1 point behind Atleti, and in the race, certainly for Champions League and Europa League as well. There's a pretty significant drop off from Sevilla to the rest. So there's a lot of places still up for grabs. Valencia in there, don't really believe in them. Bordalas has no offense to really speak of, has some offensive players, but putting that all together doesn't make sense. Villarreal, I think, they drew so many matches, so they're going to have to get going. But I do think that they have a shot to get up as they're getting healthier with Robert Moreno coming back. That's really important for their goal scoring. Danjuma kind of held the line, but looks like a great wing player to go along with Moreno, and that's going to be really helpful. So Villarreal sitting ninth at 25 points seem to be something that's worth looking deeper into. And I might, depending if there are some numbers out there, to potentially finish in Champions League or Europa League or Conference League or whatever, if that stuff even exists. Definitely be looking for that. Direct to me if you could at the @G Warner. And then I guess further down, maybe just skip down to relegation. Levante look pretty dead, haven't won in forever, and now are 3 or 4 coaches since the streak started. Pretty disappointing because I really liked them and they had some good players, but haven't been able to do it. And their defense is awful. Cadiz, their style doesn't help them to compete, giving the ball away the whole time. And once they start having to push for victories, that's going to be a big problem, though I don't really think they'll ever change their style. Alaves then tied with Elche and Getafe and 15 points for, I guess, the last relegation spot, but due to goal differential, Alaves not playing very well. Don't know where their goals are going to come from, but I do think that Jose Lu is a lot better than what Elche have to show offensively, and Getafe are only slightly better than that as well. Then a 5-point gap to Mallorca and the rest. So there's a gap at the bottom, but not too far for the relegation teams to really kind of run into. And I think that'll close today because I get on this meeting. But thanks for everyone for joining. I'm the @G Warner. Hit me up on Twitter if you got anything. Thanks.